Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consulting, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Saturday evening here in Denver, Colorado. It is 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. We're jumping on for our daily dose of growth, challenges designed to grow your soul and help you become a better person. And we are on challenge number 40. Karen, Namaste, you get the brownie point for today. I haven't had a good brownie in a long time. God, I like brownies. Brownies and ice cream, just about the best thing ever. So for those of you logging on for the very first time, every single day for the past 40 days, today's the 40th day, at 8 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, we jump on for a challenge. We give a challenge, some challenge that should take you 15 minutes to complete, and you have 10 hours to do that 15-minute challenge. Suresh, Namaste, and it's designed to make you a better person. It's designed to stretch you, to grow you, to evolve you, to push you forward, to get you out of your comfort zone. If you do not get uncomfortable during the challenges, I am not assigning the right challenges to you guys. Joanna, Namaste. By the way, to the meditation group, my apologies. I will be sending the link for the how to determine your ray. So if you emailed me or Facebooked me, great. If you didn't and you want this link on how to determine your ray, just email me at ChristianRLong@gmail.com. It's my name, ChristianRLong@gmail.com. I'll send the link to you, take the test, and find out which ray you are. It's a beautiful process, and as we talk about, knowing thyself is paramount, okay, to moving your life forward. Christy, Namaste. A few of you said you were not going to be able to get on tonight. That's okay, but you let me know. You sent me a private message. Hey, we did the challenge. Can't be on. Love you so much. Perfect. Okay, so this is our time to reflect. We did it, we didn't do it. I did it, I didn't do it, right? The challenge. Why do we say that? To take personal responsibility and accountability for your life. Even if you don't know what the challenge is. David, Namaste, even if you don't know what the challenge is, you say, I didn't do it, because you didn't do it, right? You're logging on to tonight's challenge review, you didn't do the challenge, that's fine. Take ownership of it. If you did the challenge, I did it. Also take ownership of it. We don't put attachment of judgments, of criticism, of beating yourself up, of self-pity, of unworthiness, none of those things. You simply say, I did it, I didn't do it. I did it, I didn't do it. I did it, I didn't do it. That's it. Then you share what your awareness was during the challenge, before, during, and after the challenge. So today's challenge, which I'm proud to report, because this is a great challenge if one took it seriously. So it was to identify three, look how big my hands are, three lies that you've been telling yourself. Why are you telling yourself that lie? Next, the third part is, what is the truth instead of the lie? And then what one action step you're going to do today to move you closer to truth. Karen says, I did it. I make up a lot of lies. Well, this is the practice of self-honesty, right? Good. What else? So that was the challenge for today, those 4 components. 3 lies you tell yourself, why you tell yourself those lies, what's the truth instead of the lie, and then one action step you took today to move yourself in the direction of truth. So I'd love to hear anyone and everyone's feedback who did it or did not do it. David, because this is your first challenge with the group, I did it, I didn't do it. We start there, and then if you did it, what's your feedback? Also, here's one. If you did not do it, what's your feedback? It's not going to be as deep, right? This is something I want people to become aware of. When you do a challenge, even if you do the challenge wrong, even if you do the challenge hurried, even if you do the challenge longer than 15 minutes, if you do the challenge, you have a level of understanding that is deeper than the person who didn't do the challenge. Make sense? You have an understanding that's deeper than the person who didn't do the challenge. So always do your best. If you say, Christian, I'm going to do the challenge. I'm going to do it. I might not do it perfect. I might make a lot of mistakes, but I'm going to do it. You will have better understanding and you'll be able to move your life forward more than if you didn't do the challenge. Okay? So, Karen says, love the challenge, made me aware of the energy of each statement. Good. As soon as I told the truth instead of the lie, the energy changed and I felt empowered. Excellent. Perfect. Very, very good. Beautiful paragraph. Joanna says, Abba Namaste, and I did it. Yay, Joanna. At first, my first insight, not think I could do this challenge. Oh, hold on, everyone. I could not do this challenge. At first, it was hard to admit to myself that I lied to myself. Good awareness. But I did some soul searching and came up with the 3 things that I've been lying to myself. What I need to do to fix these things, and taught me a lot about myself. Awesome. We can always learn, right? No matter what our age, what our experience is. And I realized that I'm the only one that can make these changes to better my life. Correct. Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui, my teacher on the wall, he was my teacher in the physical body before he left the physical body. Still my teacher, though. He says that you can tell the level of maturity of a soul by how much it takes responsibility for its life. So when you blame others, criticize others, make other people and situations at fault for where you are in your life, that's you not taking responsibility, and that's you abdicating responsibility to someone or something else. So that's the sign of an immature soul. Make sense? So you take ownership for your life. You're like, you know what? I am where I am because of me, because of my thoughts, my words, and my actions. Period. End of story. Then you are empowered, as Karen said, to move your life forward. Excellent. So Chrissy says, I did it. Rania, Abba Namaste. Chrissy says, I did it before I knew I didn't do it. During, got emotional while working through it. Excellent. After, I realized I truly don't believe I am worthy. Paul's homework for me is right on track. Yes, the 30 days of worthiness using higher practices. Christy says, needed it. Shelby, Abba Namaste. Long time. Hope you're doing well. So that's a very, very good point that Christy's bringing up. And I want to acknowledge Christy because I have clients that are in the gymnastics world. They're either gymnasts, they're instructors, they're former gymnasts that are instructors, they're owners of gymnastic studios, and you guys are so good at following simple instructions. I'm going to say that again. Gymnasts are so good at following simple instructions. I understand why. It's kind of the double-edged sword, right? Seeking approval your whole life. Give me a 10, give me a 10, give me a 10. No, I don't want the 9.5. Give me a 10, right? Sarah, Namaste, and you did it. Congratulations. But I've noticed that the people that are in the gymnastics world, all of my clients that have been either gymnasts previously or are they currently work with gymnasts, they're super good at following instructions. Super, super good. You give them a homework assignment, you give them a challenge, you give them clear instructions. That's it. They're off to the races to move themselves forward. It's really, really quite amazing. So I want to give Chrissy a shout out for that. So Suresh, holy moly, Suresh. Getting after it, son. All right. Abba Namaste. I did it. It was hard to find a lie I tell myself because of pranic killing or hatha yoga, Kriya Shakti. I let go of a lot of lies I tell myself, and I did find one, which is that I think I take on more and more tasks when my schedule is already full. Sometimes hard to say no to people, which leads to not fulfilling some of my promises. The truth is that I need to know that I can't do everything. Good awareness. I need to be honest of what I can do with the time I have and learn to say no. Excellent. Actually, I've read many, many things about productivity, usually from successful entrepreneurs that talk about this, and they say that the skill set, Warren Buffett talks about this specifically, a skill set is saying no. Instead of saying yes to everything, saying no to most things. Because by saying yes to everything, you disperse your energy. By saying no to most things, you're like this. You're laser-like focused. But the reason we don't want to become laser-like focused is because we don't know what we're doing. But if we don't know what we're doing, then that should be more of a reason to remove all distractions and focus on what is it that I'm here to do, right? So David, dropping some big knowledge. Let's see. I did it. It was hard to even find one lie at first. So the first lie I wrote was that I never lied to myself. Excellent. Good awareness. I could feel the resistance to look at the less desired aspect of myself, work through it, and by the end I came up with an action plan to create a lie journal for every time I consciously tell a lie to myself and others. I plan to expand further with it and write also how it felt to do the lie. Good. That's good awareness. Lori did it. Bring in the heat. Lori, what was your awareness? David, excellent for your very first challenge. Proud of you. Very good. So instead of keeping a gratitude journal, instead of keeping a, what's another one? A gratitude journal, a forgiveness journal of who I need to forgive or what I need to forgive, David is coming up with keeping a lie journal. Where am I lying? Who am I lying to? Why am I lying? And what's the truth? And how can I move forward with the truth? Excellent. Super, super good. That could be the next Secret movie, right? The Secret was about the law of attraction from Abraham Hicks that Rhonda Burns became the face of, but the law of attraction had been publicly talked about since the early 80s by Esther and by Jerry and Esther Hicks, which is actually quite fascinating because when I was doing my 2-month retreat in Fairfield, Iowa, I watched over 45 hours of content and read an entire book by Abraham Hicks and transformed my life. A lot of the teachings are built within pranic healing, but I like her school and I like the way she clearly articulates things, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. Focus on what you want, don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on the feeling, and then as you're tapping into the feeling, people and circumstances will come into your life to validate your feelings. So if you feel fear all the time, people and circumstances will come into your life to validate fear. If you feel gratitude in your life, people and circumstances will come into your life to validate gratitude, right? It's very simple teachings, but people don't practice simple teachings. That's why we have to keep reminding them. David says, it's extremely rewarding to know I gave myself this challenge and I'm going to make a practice to do at least one challenge with you every day. Perfect, because we do one challenge every day, so you're right on track. Lori says, I hated to admit I am a liar, as my biggest pet peeve is being lied to. I truly hate to be lied to, and I do my best to not lie to others. Good. I don't like to use that word, the HATE word. Nothing to do with you. It's just the energy behind it. David says, why were you in Fairfield, Iowa? That's where the university I plan to start in. Yeah. David, do you see all the similarities you and I have with each other? You're going to MUM at 19, and I started to go to MUM at 19. Funny, right? I went there almost 20 years ago, right? So I was a student at MUM, Maharishi University of Management, where I was studying TM, the Transcendental Meditation Technique, and then I became a TM Siddha, which is the next level of practitioner. And then in 2017, from the beginning of July to the beginning of September, so I was in Fairfield, Iowa for 2 months doing a self-guided retreat. So Joanna says, Jessica has not been feeling well. This is why she has not been on a couple days. I understand. That's right. How is her head doing? Probably not so good, considering she's why not. When I was there, I was majoring in consciousness. I didn't graduate from the university because I had other ideals and plans. But I was studying consciousness when I was there. Great school. I had a lot of beautiful experiences, and I'm extremely grateful for being introduced to the Transcendental Meditation Technique, for learning hundreds of hours of content from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi through video teachings and video lectures over the time that I was there. Great school. Very, very grateful for my first spiritual teacher. So Lori says, me neither. I don't like that either. It's such a strong negative. I do not let my daughter use it ever, but I use it today, as that is how much I dislike lies. Well, that's a fair statement. I like that. What else? Anyone else want to cover bad headaches and sinus pressure? Interesting. She's been going through a lot of stuff the past month. Rapid acceleration of karma. David said, if this isn't a sign from the universe, I'm making the right decision to at least give it a try. That's the same major I'm going to do. Right. That's why you and I have a lot in common, David. That's why I can kind of see your your path a little bit further than you, because I was there, right? Not that I'm claiming to be some guru that can predict your future, but there are energies and patterns at play. So, that being said, what was the purpose of today's challenge? The purpose of today's challenge is to refine the quality of honesty towards oneself and honesty towards others. We'll move in the honesty towards others later, but we have to start with the self. So there's a virtue within pranic healing and Hatha yoga that Grandmaster Chogo Kokusui talks about, and he says it is the hardest of all the virtues to master. It's called accurate perception and correct expression, with the sub-quality or sub-virtue of honesty and non-lying to oneself and others. So accurate perception means to look at something and see it clearly. So if you look at Buddhism, the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, the first step in the Eightfold Path is right viewpoint. That's connected to the virtue of accurate perception. That means seeing something as it is, seeing it clearly, right? Because if you don't see something clearly, how can you have right thoughts about it? How can you have right speech about it? How can you have right actions, right livelihood, right spiritual practice, right oneness, if you don't see something accurately? True or not true? So the first step we always want to do with ourselves and then with other people is to accurately perceive something, right? Then the next step is the correct expression. So you have the first step of the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, accurate perception. Then steps 2 through 8 are correct expression, correctly expressing your accurate viewpoint. But guess what? If your viewpoint is inaccurate, everything else will be inaccurate. Make sense? So a simple way of looking at it is during Christopher Columbus's time, right? What was the viewpoint? That the world was flat, and that you get in a boat, you go to a certain distance, and then you fall off the planet. That was the viewpoint. So would it be fair to say that that viewpoint affected the way they thought, the way they spoke, the way they acted, the way they experienced oneness, their livelihood, right? You're not going to be a person who does things in the ocean far, far away, right? Because you're not going to do trading and all these different things, because you're going to fall off the edge of the planet and die. So accurate viewpoint, and it took a few brave souls to go, wait a minute, we got in our boats, and instead of falling off the edge of the earth, we circumnavigated the planet. Wait a minute, the earth is round, it's not flat. Mind blown, right? So that's quite fascinating. The industry that is most focused on accurate perception and correct expression is the field of law. Every field has accurate perception, correct expression, but the ones that specialize in it is the field of law. Because what are they doing? A judge is getting all the data from both sides, right? The plaintiff and the defendant getting all the data, as accurate data on this side, as accurate data on this side as possible, and then determining the correct expression of what this person gets. Do they have to pay a fine? Do they have to go to jail? Do they have to pay a fine and go to jail? How much is the fine? How long in jail? Which jail? Right? The details, the correct expression of the viewpoint. Accurate perception, correct expression. So, when we lie to ourselves in any area of our life, we're distorting reality. We're distorting reality. So that means if we distort reality, we don't see things correctly. So our thoughts are incorrect, right? Our thoughts are incorrect. Our speech is incorrect. Our actions are incorrect. Our livelihood is incorrect. So for instance, one example is being in the gambling business. Gambling business, cigarette, tobacco, alcohol businesses. Yes? not good livelihood. It's not a judgment. It's not about morality or ethics or anything like that. Those industries don't add value to humanity. It's entertainment in the lower nature, but it doesn't uplift. It doesn't increase the vibration of humanity. So it's not right livelihood. But the reason people get into that profession, gambling, tobacco, alcohol, right, is because of their incorrect or inaccurate viewpoint. Make sense? So you can see that your viewpoint determines everything in your life. Everything. So you have viewpoints about relationships, but think about how deep that goes. All kinds of viewpoints about all kinds of relationships. That's just with relationships. Then you have viewpoints about your health. Then you have viewpoints about your spiritual growth and development or lack of spiritual growth and development. You have viewpoints about money, limiting viewpoints, preconceived ideas, calcified ideas. So all of these things influence your ability to see something accurately. That's why Master Choa says volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes could be written about the virtue of accurate perception and correct expression and honesty and non-lying. It's extraordinarily complex. But here's the thing. Adriana brought it up earlier today with the challenge. How do you know you're lying to yourself? Exactly. Right? How do you know you're lying to yourself? How do you know you're practicing self-honesty and non-lying? And how do you know you're not lying to other people? That's why it's so challenging. So let me get what Lori said here. Lori said, my 3 lies are: 1, I'm not a good mom. Okay. 2, I'm not smart. 3, I'm not a good prayer. I'm not a good prayer or player? I get hung up on these. Oh, you mean just like you don't pray correctly, if I understand you? I get hung up on these, but in reality I look deeply and not compare myself to others. I see that they are lies I tell myself. Correct. So comparing and competing with others is coming from lack. Comparing and competing is coming from lack. Prayer. Okay, got it. It's coming from lack. So this virtue is extraordinarily complex. And I've mentioned this to you guys a few times in the past, that my mentor and I, years and years and years ago, we were talking about clairvoyance. And he says, do you know what it takes to be a good clairvoyant? Meaning someone who can see energy. Because clairvoyance means to see clearly, right? To see clearly. That's what clairvoyance is. He says, you know what it takes to be a good clairvoyant? I go, I have no idea. I'm not clairvoyant, so I don't know. He says, being honest. Being honest. Because if you distort the perception of other people, the karma is your perception will be distorted. But if you're honest to yourself and honest to others, you can see a situation as it is. You can see reality, and you can see different levels of truth. Really quite fascinating. But I notice there's a few people in my life that have a tendency to lie quite often. They're distorting the perceptions of other people, thus their perception of reality is distorted, and because of that distortion, they have thoughts, words, and actions that lead to a tremendous amount of suffering. Jen, namaste. Make sense? So honesty and non-lying. So there are so many, it's so broad and so deep at the same time. So David says, my second lie was that I have no belief systems. I was also thinking to write another lie that I know when I'm lying to myself 100% of the time. So, for instance, right? Because I've heard this a lot. When people talk about, when people make blanketed statements, that's a good indicator that they're lying to themselves. When someone makes a blanketed statement, so when someone goes, I always do this and I never do that, that's an indicator of lying. Right? Because that's not possible. It's not that it's not possible, it's highly improbable. So when somebody says, I never lie to myself, or I never lie to others, right? That is a lie. Because your perception, your accurate perception and correct expression has to be so developed that you would be operating on a different level of humanity. If you never lied to yourself, never lied to others, and always spoke mature honesty towards yourself and mature honesty towards others. Right? Elizabeth, namaste. Extremely complex. So to say, I never do this, I never do that, I always do this, I always do that, it's not accurate perception. But on another note to that, Grandmaster Chola Koksui said many years ago that if we were to speak accurate perception, correct expression on the highest level, it would sound like a legal contract every time we spoke. Right? It would become so wordy, it would be so impractical that we couldn't communicate to one another back and forth smoothly and effortlessly. So that's why it's impossible to be truly accurate, to have accurate perception and correct expression fully using language. Now, if we all tap into the universal I am, and we are all in this stillness together, information gets transferred accurately and correctly. So Karen says, okay. I think it's easy to recognize where we lie to ourselves. It's where our suffering is. Where we feel pain, there's a belief, a lie, a story underneath it that causes the pain. Correct. 100%. So if you're not looking at it accurately, you're sweeping it under the rug, the problem's still there, and then we rationalize, we justify, and we make up stories to protect our psychology. It's called cognitive dissonance. We lie to ourselves because we don't want to deal with the truth. So then we rationalize that lie, right? So we can have psychological equilibrium. Because if we didn't rationalize and lie to ourselves, what would we have to do then? The cognitive dissonance would become so intense we would have to take action on the truth. And that requires what? Mental effort, emotional effort, physical effort, spiritual effort even. Yes? That's too much. That's too difficult. Right? So for instance, a lie you would tell yourself is, I don't have time to meditate. Perfect example. I don't have time to meditate. That's a lie you're telling yourself. I don't have time to exercise. Exercise is too hard. Exercise leaves me sore every single time I do it. Lying to yourself. What else? So basically, a lie is anything that you rationalize or justify from doing the right thing. So the two chakras that are primarily involved in the process of accurate perception and correct expression are the throat chakra and the Ajna chakra. The Ajna chakra deals with accurate perception. This fills in the details. So Grandmaster Chola says people who are very intelligent tend to have a lot of negative pride, if not worked on. If they don't have humility, they tend to have a lot of negative pride. And they tend to lie to themselves very, very well. Because an intelligent person can rationalize and justify anything. So if you call them out, if you corner them, right? Somebody makes a statement and you corner an intelligent person, what are they going to do? They're going to flip the script. They're going to rationalize and justify their position. Davis is just mentioning because it ties right into what you're saying now. Perfect. Okay? So it's a fascinating topic. You could literally spend the rest of your life working on it. As a side note, to the virtue of accurate perception and correct expression, Grandmaster Chola Koksui developed many tools within pranic healing and especially within Arhatic Yoga that he says if you practice these tools regularly for 5 years, you will have a degree of mastery of accurate perception and correct expression. So people who are geniuses Someone who's a genius has accurate perception, correct expression. So there are tools and techniques that you can use in the process of developing accurate perception, correct expression, and being honest towards oneself and honest towards others. And you do this regularly for 5 years, and your mind will be razor sharp. As you continue to evolve and develop on the spiritual path, and you start to become more aware, because you're practicing honesty towards oneself and honesty towards others, as you become more aware, as you become more, you have correct observation, accurate observation and correct interpretation, you can look at other people and go, that's not true. Immediately. Like, there's no fuzziness. You're like, that's not true. Like that. Super, super fast. Why? Because your mind is sharp. Your emotions are still. You are able to penetrate a subject deeply and go, what that person is saying is inaccurate. I can see it from this point of view, this point of view, this point of view. I can understand why they think this way, why they speak this way, why they act this way, but what they're saying is inaccurate. Okay, how can I communicate in such a way that they can be open and receptive to the feedback and then bump them up to a higher level of truth? Because as I sow truth within them, truth will be sown within me. And that's done within seconds. Right? That's done within seconds. So the highest level coaches in the world are masters at accurate perception and correct expression. They're masters at cutting through delusion. Right? I know a girl, this is many, many years ago, who spent thousands of dollars. She was in the tech field, and she spent thousands of dollars hiring psychics and mediums to tell her what she wanted to hear. Think about that. So she's going to a psychic or medium or clairvoyant to get what? Clear vision about something in her life. But if she didn't like what she heard, she would not use that psychic, and then she would find another one who told her exactly what she wanted to hear. Right? So that's not about accurate perception and correct expression. That's about what? Self-delusion, self-conceitedness, negative pride, shielding low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-respect, right? It's interesting because one of the people that I hired, who was one of the top clairvoyants at the time in the world in pranic healing. I have a lot of respect for this person, and she is an expert at what she does. And isn't it funny that this clairvoyant who was hired by this girl told her to stop spending money on these clairvoyants and these psychics, and then told her the accurate perception of what she saw clairvoyantly about her relationship, dating life, because that's primarily what she was asking for insight on. And guess what? The person, bye Chrissy, have fun with the boys. The person was very angry and didn't hire that clairvoyant again because she didn't tell her what she wanted to hear. Instead, she told her the truth. So Karen said, did Karen say something? Oh, you did. Oh, David says something. Sorry, I'm out of order here. Have you practiced radical honesty, nonviolent communication? I'm familiar with it. My community has been doing weekly workshops on these topics, and I think it relates to this challenge. Isn't that interesting, David? Of all the challenges, the 40th challenge, you've been working on honesty and nonviolent communication at the retreat, and then that's the one that you were drawn to. Like energy attracts like energy, right? Interesting. It's kind of funny. David says, because accurate perception and correct expression is practically the exact same reason we do those workshops. Let me tell you that they have a ginormous difference. They've made a ginormous difference for all of us as well. Yes. You cannot have accurate perception, correct expression until you can be emotionally calm and still. How many people have made stupid choices in their lives because they are emotionally worked up? I have. I could write a whole book on it, right? So it's about being calm, being still, and that allows your higher faculties to become activated, and you can penetrate a subject very, very deeply, which is called Jnana Yoga. Jnana, Jnana Yoga, which is the yoga of understanding, which is the yoga of accurate perception. Amazing, right? So you can understand just taking this virtue of accurate perception, correct expression, take you many, many years to master. Just that. Having right viewpoint, articulating, having right thought connected to that viewpoint, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right practice, and right oneness. Spiritual practice and right oneness. Amazing. The Eightfold Path of Buddhism. Ta-da! None of these are my teachings. Zero. These are all Master Choa Kok Sui's teachings and our lineage. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you guys something to shoot for. Being honest towards yourself is the first step. Then you start being honest towards others. And then as you put more truth into the world, more truth will come back to you. More truth will be revealed. Ta-da! So be very careful what comes out of your mouth. More importantly, be careful of your viewpoint. By the way, Karen alluded to this. Laura, you're welcome. Karen alluded to this earlier about suffering and pain with lying. This is how you know you have the wrong viewpoint. You ready? We're about to do a mind-blowing moment. This is how you know your viewpoint is wrong. Are you ready? You're suffering. Easy. You're suffering because your viewpoint is wrong. Change your viewpoint, change your suffering. Now, if you change your viewpoint and your suffering increases, what did you do? You adopted a worse viewpoint. Hello, right? Hello. But if you change your viewpoint, if you spin your viewpoint and it alleviates your suffering, the likelihood it's an accurate viewpoint. And that is all. So lots of love to you guys, from my heart to yours. May the rest of your day be filled with light, with love, with power. May God and my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui, bless each and every one of you for all the days of your life. May you be a great, great light in the world, alleviate the suffering of many, and I look forward to continuing to serve you. For those of you who need healing, boop, ChristianRLong.com. That's my website. Best way to get a hold of me. If you got value out of this stream, please share it on your Facebook page. Personal, professional, doesn't matter, because we keep it professional and interesting no matter what. Suresh says that is very true. Yes, about suffering and viewpoint. And let me know how I can assist you in your healing process and moving your life forward. 16 years of experience as a professional energy healer and 20 years as a meditation practitioner. And I love the work that I do. I'm honored to do the work that I do, and it is not the easiest work in the world, which I thought it would be. David says, thank you so much, Christian. This was incredibly helpful. My pleasure, David. Good to have you on, and good to see you're moving in the right direction. You're moving closer to truth, which is not easy. It takes time, purification, awareness, understanding. Suresh says, yes, great teaching today. All credit to Master Choa. Everything I do right is because of the teacher. Everything I do wrong is because of my own lack of awareness and lack of understanding. Simple as that. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for challenge number 41. Challenge 41. Ta-da! This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma. Namaste. Bye. Puberty's kicking back in. Bye, guys.